Where there is smoke, there is fire. At least, that's what we're led to believing. Is this really smoke, or is it just a bunch of people all over the Athletic going out there and saying a specific idea that we can regurgitate over and over again? Well, I jest on the over and over again part. We're not there yet, but I wanted to leave some links in the description to articles on the Athletic as well as elsewhere around the NHL. Because when it comes to the Detroit Red Wings, we may have just been given an inkling as to where it is they could be setting their sights on, trade target-wise. We're going to be talking about the Wings and the St. Louis Blues. Stick around and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Take a look at this article. It was published by Max Bultman on The Athletic 2 days ago on December 31st. Ha ha, this article is from last year. Yeah, I see it. But the title of the piece talks about the Detroit Red Wings' biggest trade deadline need and how it is coming into view at mid-season. The Athletic is paid for material, so we're not going to go out there and screenshot the article or show it on screen or whatever. Instead, I just wanted to give you a brief summation as to what is talked about. Because Bultman goes out there and writes about a specific Justin Faulk out of the St. Louis Blues, and uses this name as a pretty interesting Red Wings trade target. Now, hold your horses. We're not just going to talk about Bultman's piece talking about the Red Wings' biggest need. There also was another article posted onto The Athletic. NHL trade targets. Which player should each team pursue after the holiday freeze? This was an article from last week, not December 31st, a little earlier than that. And you can see here, posted by MKK4 on the Detroit Red Wings subreddit, that there was a write-up about Detroit. It's the same Max Bultman contributing to this piece. He goes out there and writes about Justin Faulk saying this: the Red Wings' biggest need is to deepen their blue line, where their third pair has been a liability. Justin Faulk is playing 23 minutes a night in St. Louis, and you wonder if the veteran could improve his territorial numbers in easier deployment. He's still productive, has an extra year in his contract, so he's not just a rental, and could provide more support for Albert Johansson. Plus, he would be a playoff-ready second-pair option, so Detroit can shelter Axel Sandin Pellikka a bit if the Wings make the postseason. So, is Justin Faulk the piece that the Detroit Red Wings need? Well, let's dive into it, talk about the profile, see what he's about. Justin Faulk is a 33-year-old, 6 feet 216 right-handed defenseman, so automatically that makes him pretty valuable. And he's a guy who is on the last 2 years of a contract, making $6.5 million a year. His contract expires 2027, so there is a little bit of term remaining there. And this season, Faulk has been pretty good. 20 points in 41 games. He is on pace for 40 points over a full 82. He may not be as good as he once was. He was a 50-point guy with the Blues in earlier parts of his career. But Justin Faulk, for the most part, has been a pretty versatile right-handed option throughout both the Hurricanes and the Blues organizations. There's been a lot to like out of the way he mans a power play, how he moves on top of the umbrella, the offensive skill there, and for a team like Detroit, where you can say that that role is not 100% filled, I think it's a reasonable option to think about if you wanted to force a top power play quarterback onto this team. They had that with Erik Gustafsson, but, you know, it's Erik Gustafsson. Is he that guy? Axel Sandin Pellikka is also an option, but he is still a rookie, so do you want to give him those minutes just yet? And then you have Mo Seider, who is an all-round situations kind of guy. Can he play the top of the umbrella on the power play? Yes. Is it ideal for him to do that? You can debate not. You can debate that maybe having one dedicated guy to doing that stuff is valuable, and a guy like Justin Faulk can help split the load. Let's go back onto the Detroit Red Wings subreddit and read what some of the commenters have to say over there. The Detroit and St. Louis Brotherhood Watch. Aha, yeah, that would be nice to expand upon there. Vrana. Who's the other guy that we talked about? Berggren. Yeah, I'm sorry. Berger's name escaped my mind. I had this exact same conversation with my father yesterday, Jay Zanville said. The Panthers bringing in Seth Jones was the template that we had used for Detroit trying to bring someone in this year to bolster the back end without costing too much. Faulk was the St. Louis player that we thought would be an option if St. Louis were to be their trade partner. Morgan Rielly getting a playoff chance outside of Toronto would also be interesting to see too. Okay, now we're not going to fully expand on a Morgan Rielly conversation. Take a look at one of the other comments over here. That certainly makes sense to me. $6.5 million is less than the current cap space. I'd be good with this depending on the package. Isn't Ben Sherratt gone after this season? If so, Faulk becomes the old veteran guy in the room. Benny's contract is up this season, but I'd offer him a slightly lower contract to stick around. Another year or two if he wants to stay. That's funny, and I really like the fact that Red Wings fans have come to terms with Ben Sherratt as a hockey player, because if you give him enough time, he does become a player that I think fans of the team that he plays for will cheer for too. It was like that in Montreal. There was a reticence from Canadiens fans that said, man, I kind of don't really want to trade this guy. He's worth a first, and he'll get a first wherever he goes, whether it's Florida or Tampa or wherever, but man, we just like to cheer for this dude. He's a rough, tough son of a bee that goes out there and makes the lives of your opponents difficult, especially in the playoffs. Just you wait. When Detroit makes the dance, and I'm not even going to knock on wood or anything for that, I'm just going to say they're going to make it. When Detroit makes the playoffs, just you wait. Ben Sherratt is going to be a nightmare to deal against. But of course, a guy like Justin Faulk is an entirely different defenseman, a lot more versatile, a lot more skilled, a lot more productive than a Ben Sherratt. I'm kind of trying to think about what the package could be. The Blues aren't very great this year, so you can make the debate that they would probably want to get younger, right? That's a reasonable assumption. They just gave a chance to Jonathan Berggren on waivers. They scratched him, and then they played him on the top line the next game, so that experiment's going well, it seems. But if they wanted to get some picks, some prospects, the Red Wings have a bunch of those. If Detroit wants to expand a little bit more on their win now type of scenario, then maybe a C+ or a B- tiered prospect and a late pick is enough to get it done for Justin Faulk, right? If St. Louis can see some sort of longer term value in this trade scenario, you could probably make the argument that it makes sense. But with that in mind, if you are a St. Louis Blues fan, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Justin Faulk as a potential trade option for a team like Detroit? And which prospects or picks would you be interested in acquiring to make it work? Which defenseman or a roster-ready player would you think makes the deal go through if you are a fan of either of these teams? Let me know in the comment section all your opinions. The article will be linked in the description as well. Max Bultman writing about Justin Faulk on his own Athletic page. I hope you enjoyed this Vidishashroll 9, and bye.